have to admit that I did not see this part coming. Because, honestly, I thought that the idea of America expanding into new territory was kind of a thing of the past. Because, honestly, there is not really much to claim, to be honest. We already have a lot of islands, as well as the mainland USA, Alaska, Hawaii, that, etc., etc., etc. But I actually see an email, or at least, and also, well, not an email. Let me rephrase that. A video from Tim Cast, and he is talking about how Donald Trump was actually expressing an interest in buying Greenland. Now, honestly, I thought it was strange, or maybe that this was kind of a joke. But then again, Tim Pool doesn't really make that sort of thing. He did make a video yesterday about just sexual exploitation of cows and just debugging this academic journal, which apparently it was published by Gender Studies. I don't know. But that was just mainly to highlight the insanity and stupidity of basically the current left. But here, he actually makes a good point with Donald Trump expressing somewhat of an interest in the idea of buying Greenland. Here's the thing: while he hasn't really made any laws or come out yet, he did just ask his advisors about entertaining that kind of possibility. Because actually, this is not the first time that the United States has been thinking about acquiring this territory. In fact, the last time that we did was about, I can't remember if it's 1946 or 1947, but it was definitely during the Truman administration, where President Harry Truman actually proposed buying Greenland for $100 million. Now, of course, Denmark decided not to take that deal. But now it's being expressed again. And the reason for this is pretty simple. Because of Greenland's strategic importance. Because it definitely... Because whoever owns the Northwest Passage owns Greenland, owns the Northwest Passage. Plus, it has a at the very one of our military bases actually up there in the Arctic, which gives us a lot of influence around the Arctic Circle. But that's not all. There are even reports that Greenland may contain oil reserves, iron ore, gold, you name it. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, after all, that's what happened when we acquired Alaska. So it would make complete sense for Donald Trump to express this kind of interest. Even if it is kind of unlikely that this may occur, it does have has a lot of logic behind it. Now, to look into how a lot of the opposition to Trump has been going on, pretty much it's basically the left. Pretty much they've been thinking that this is some sort of joke, that whenever Donald Trump opens his mouth, that's freaking hilarious, freaking stupid. After all, this is something that we've heard from before when it came to the Space Force. And as it turns out, there's actual legislation that is proposing a sixth branch of the United States Armed Force called the Space Force. Of course, it hasn't passed yet. It's under the National Defense Authorization Act of 2020, but it's still there. There is strong bipartisan support and also a major amount of support between both the House and the Senate. And now the left thinks that this is completely that this is a joke. I mean, are you kidding yourselves? Seriously, what I said before, Harry Truman wanted to buy Greenland for $100 million. Like I said before, Denmark decided not to put in that deal. But nonetheless, it just, how can you not see the benefits of that? Because currently in Greenland, there's at least a population of between 50,000 to 60,000 people. Most of them happen to not be Danish. In fact, a good majority of them happen to be Inuit. But at the same time, because they have such a low the reason why they have such a low population is because, in all honesty, there's no benefit to farming or to any other kind of industry. And this is the reason, because of basically the policies of the Danish government. Because Denmark, while it's still a prosperous country, don't get me wrong, it doesn't really have the resources to tap into things such as mining or oil reserves in Greenland. If that were the case, then they would be very prosperous, and they would have probably done it by now. But yeah, this would if they actually did develop, it would definitely make Greenland a major powerhouse. And let's not forget about how the 50,000 to 60,000 people currently living in Greenland have to deal with gaining food aid from outside sources. More specifically from Denmark. Because there isn't really any good farmland. It's just millions of dollars or millions of euros have been spent providing this kind of aid by Denmark. And in my opinion, I think that's just I think that while I understand why they're doing that, I mean obviously because of no farming, it's not really encouraging the growth of Greenland. At least that's from my perspective. So I find it weird how, I find it weird how the left is just thinking that this is a complete joke. I mean, this hasn't happened before. I'm pretty certain that a lot of people on the left have a basic understanding of American history. Back in 1803, Thomas Jefferson bought the Louisiana Purchase. Not only was this meant to acquire fertile farmland in order to expand the country, but it also contained many resources, untapped resources at the time. And then the same thing happened with the Gazette Purchase. And also back in 1867, we acquired Alaska. At the time, actually, a lot of people think that this was completely stupid. That was until gold was discovered there. And then coal, and then iron ore, and then oil. So it became a major resource-rich land that we managed to acquire from the Russians. And if America actually did the same thing with Greenland, I think that would be the case. So I don't understand their logic behind this by thinking that this is a joke, how this may be insane, or how there's no presses behind this. I really don't. The only thing I can say is it's been a while since we actually made a purchase. The last time we made a purchase was back in 1917, the U.S. Virgin Islands, from, you may guess it, Denmark. I'm not kidding you. It's kind of funny when I'm thinking about it. The last time we bought some territory, it's from Denmark, and now we're asking for Greenland, and they think no. again, I think it's just a funny coincidence, just in my opinion. But yeah, for right now, Donald Trump is entertaining this idea. And while Denmark is not really interested in the idea of selling Greenland, I don't think that this is gonna stop him. Or at the very least, it's gonna be put on the table for a certain amount of time. That I think is going to happen. I think it'll be a while before any traction of this grows. That is what I think is gonna happen. I think there's gonna be a little bit of traction going on because right now a lot of people are talking about it. Sticks Hexenhammer is talking about it. Tim Bullet is talking about it. A lot of people are talking about it, especially me. And this may actually grow and gain some traction. But at the moment right now, it is considerably unlikely that Greenland will be a new piece of territory of the United States. My name is Noah Mean on The Arc Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Also, if you guys have any criticism about how I do my videos, please be sure to either put them down in the comment section down below, and if you want to, just directly message me up above. Thank you.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain.